Guys, I'm very, very happy that we're here today. We're discussing, we're finalizing, we're finishing off this series. Life isn't always rainbows and unicorns. And we've been doing this for the past 5 weeks. And I think over the past 5 weeks, we found that this is a real truth. This is a very, very real truth. And we've had stories upon stories upon stories of the life that surrounds us, right? And the needs and the struggles of our church family and the community that we are in. And it's been challenging for us to hear at times. I think it's been challenging because we've talked about some topics that have been difficult. But here we are. We're standing here, we're sitting here, and we're speaking about it, and we're delving into it, and we're doing it together as a community. And I think that is such a powerful thing and such an awesome thing. And so I hope what we explore today, what we journey together today, is hopefully going to bring you guys, or bring us actually, encouragement and hopefully movement in a positive direction. There you go, Caleb. That's it. Come on. So the focus for this morning, Jamie mentioned it. The focus for this morning, and something that we're going to explore together, is this idea of your tribe. Okay, this is what we want. And so as we explore this message together, we want you walking away from today. We want you to actually leave this place knowing that this is your tribe, that Gracegate can be your tribe. We're going to be a tribe that fights for you. We're going to be a tribe that loves you. We're going to be a tribe that journey alongside you. And we want to be a tribe that communicates and shares that, hey, we actually have a creator that loves us so deeply that he created us to do life together. And that this tribe, we can do that together. Okay? So that's what I hope and I pray for. So let me ask this. Who loves being at home? Who is like a real home bug? Like hands up. Oh, good. Joneses, I'm glad that you put your hands up because I know this is the truth. You love being at home. It's great. Their home's lovely, by the way. I too enjoy being at home, right? But can I ask, why is it so attractive, being a home bug? Why is home such a nice place? Solitude, sorry? Bed, oh, come on now. Yeah, that's it. What else? Food, safe, yes. Love it. I love being at home. Well, actually, I love traveling and I love doing things and I love being outside in the world and I love exploring and day trips and all that kind of stuff, and I like not spending time at home. But sometimes I love spending time at home. And specifically, I love one part of my house, which is my bedroom. And I love one piece of furniture in my bedroom, which is my bed. Okay, my bed is the most glorious thing. It is so comfortable. It's like sleeping on clouds. It's beautiful. So I love that. Now let me ask you this. Who here has ever been homesick? Who's ever experienced being homesick? Yeah, some of you? Yeah. It's a sucky feeling, right? It's terrible. The first time I ever experienced being homesick, I was, I think, maybe 8 or 9. And I was staying over at my friend William's house. Not that William, but William's house. And I cried for most of the night, going, I want to go home. I want to go home. And then we played basketball. It was great. But for some of you that know, I studied in Australia. Right, I studied in Australia for about 1.5 years, and that first year there, I truly experienced what it felt to be homesick. Right, I craved being at home. My parents can vouch for this. I always bring them in somehow into when I share, but my parents can actually vouch for this because I hated being there. I wanted to be home. I craved home so badly that at the end of the year, once exams were finished, assignments were handed in, I was talking to my parents and they were like, okay, book your flights and then you can come home for the holidays. So I was online booking flights, and then I didn't realize this, but because I was so homesick, I didn't book enough baggage, right? And so when I got to the airport, I went up to the counter. I'm like, hey, I'd like my ticket so I can go home, please. And the lady was like, okay, put your bags. And then she's like, oh, actually, you have way too much baggage. You can't take that. I was like, that's fine. That's fine. Just give me the ticket. And so I actually left a bag in Adelaide somewhere. I don't know, because I never went back for it. That's how badly homesick I was. I just left it there. I think it's there. I don't know. But then as the plane landed in Thailand, and you know how that thing comes and meets the plane at the door, right? I took my first step onto it, and I could feel the heat of Thailand. And I could smell it. It's got a very distinct smell sometimes. Very distinct. And then I kind of like looked around and go, this is weird. It feels familiar. It feels nice. It feels like home. And I let out this massive sigh. I was like, wow, I am at home. This feels good. How many of us have experienced that? When we come back from a long trip, or we've gone camping, the ground is hard. You drive up your driveway or whatever. You open your door and you step in and you go, "Whew, I'm at home. It feels good. Everything, I know where everything is. It feels familiar. It feels nice. I have my own bed. It's exciting. It's a great thing." And you know what I think? I think that's what home should feel like. Genuinely, I believe that is what home should feel like. But sadly, that's not always how it is, right? Because we know that life isn't always rainbows and unicorns. And I think for all of us here, no matter how old we are, we've experienced this statement. At least we've experienced this. Because we to our own capacities, we go through this and we realize that, man, life is not always rainbows and unicorns. It's terrible. And then on top of that, sometimes our home setup isn't even the best. Sometimes our own tribes, our own families don't want us. Sometimes when life isn't always rainbows and unicorns, home is actually the worst place that we can be. We would rather be anywhere else than at home. Because home isn't safe for us. We aren't protected there. We aren't wanted there. We aren't loved there. And the sad thing is that there are some of us in this family that are experiencing this, that are going through this every single day, that have this feeling of like, you know what, home is not a safe place for me. I don't want to go back home. I can't go back home. No one at home wants me. And that is sad. Because from all that we've talked about, from bullying right at the beginning of the series, right, to sexual abuse, to the labels that we put on each other, and the story that Nayla shared, life is not rainbows and unicorns. And if we don't have a home or we don't have a safe place, what is that? What is that? A place where you feel welcome, a place where you feel wanted. And what adds on to the sadness, and is a little bit difficult to share, is that sometimes church and Christianity has done that. It's done this on occasion, right? We create this facade, or we put this image of ourselves of we are being all very high and mighty. We're all very high and mighty. And so because we put this image, we actually send this message that says, ooh, you know that thing that you did, that struggle you went through, that thing that happened to you, I don't know if God can handle it. Because of that, I don't know if God can actually love you. And so, you're not welcome. We've done this. Sometimes it's us. It's actually our own thoughts that do this, right? We ourselves, we think that, hey, man, we are too far lost. Man, this thing happened to me when I was younger or whatever. And I am too far lost. I am so far lost. I don't even have hope. How can God have hope for me? How can I go back to a place, right? How can I come back to this tribe when I have no hope whatsoever? That there is this massive loss of hope. If I see that there is no hope for myself, how can God see hope for me? And this is my thing. Hope is always there. Hope is never lost. It is always there and it is never lost. Because I believe with all my heart that God has created us and designed us to be a tribe, to be a community together. This I believe with all my heart. And this tribe that you're sitting amongst, and you might be feeling super uncomfortable. You might be feeling, I don't know if I want to be here. This tribe, we aim to be different. We actually aim to be the church or the tribe that Jesus has actually called us to be, that he's intended for us to be. That is what we aim to be. We aim to be this tribe. And so this is what Jesus actually calls us to be. He calls us to be a tribe and a community that of people that love people. And people that love all people. Because Jesus, he sends a different message. We send this message of like, oh, I don't know if you can. But Jesus sends this message. Go to the next slide. He says this, no matter where you are, where you've come from, what your past may be, where you are currently, or what your future holds, you are family, you are our tribe, welcome home. This is the message that Jesus sends. And this is what he intends us as the tribe to do. To say, hey, you are a family. You are part of this tribe. Welcome home. Come on in. See, Jesus models this beautifully, right? Not just in the way that he lived his life, because he created his own little tribe as well, but in the stories that he shared. And he shares 3 parables. And basically, parables are made-up stories. They're made-up stories, just Jesus made up. To prove a point, to share a teaching of some sort, right? And it applies to almost everyone. So today, what I want to do is I actually want to look at 3 parables, and they're all found in Luke 15. All right? And so if we jump to the next slide, we're going to start it off. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. Cool. Hang on. So tax collectors and sinners. Now these people, they would not necessarily be associated to someone like Jesus, the teacher of the law. But here we see, hey, now tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. Tax collectors were one of the most disliked people in that time. Because what happened was Rome came and took over Israel, right? They came in and conquered it. Yep, conquered it. And what they did was they said, hey, look, we're gonna hire some Jewish people, Jewish men, to become tax collectors. And they're going to collect the money from their people, and they're going to bring it to Rome, right? They're going to give it to Rome. And so already, man, you don't want to be paying a foreign country. And on top of that, tax collectors would then take a little extra on the side, just because they can. So they were disliked. And sinners, and I love how in the Bible it says sinners. It's sinners. Sinners were just people that they were just disliked for whatever reason. Hey, you did something wrong. You bad. No. So here we have tax collectors and sinners. And then later on it says Pharisees and the teachers of the law. So now these guys, they're here as well. They're all sitting around listening to Jesus tell these parables. So you have a collection of different people. You have people that don't mix with other people. And then kind of in the middle there are the disciples. They're just like, hey, I'm here. I'm here to listen, Jesus. And so it continues. Sorry. Yeah. And so actually, before I even continue, Jesus actually accomplishes something fantastic with these parables. It's great because not only is he able to relate these stories to people, not only is he able to communicate a story and a learning from this. But I believe in these three parables, he teaches us three things. He shares with us three things. The first thing is that, hey, he actually effectively shares God's true character and love for his people in these three parables that we're going to look at. The second one is that he shares our nature. He shares that what we do. And the third one is that he actually challenges us. And so that's what we're going to explore. And so this is the first parable that's found in Luke 15. And so it goes, "Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, 'This man welcomes sinners and eats with them.'" Already in the first two verses, we see something of Jesus' character, of Jesus' nature. And in this book by Louis Giglio, it's called Comeback, he highlights this word welcome or welcomes. And I think he says it beautifully, and I think he communicates it in a way that Jesus meant it to be. And so this is what he says. Welcome means, if we go to the next slide, we don't build high walls, we don't put gates at the end of the road, and we don't put obstacles in front of people. Jesus' version of welcome is this. If we go to the next one, Tracy. We roll out the red carpet and a big welcome mat in front of people. And we say, hey, are you looking for somewhere to belong? Because this is it, and welcome. And we welcome them home. So already here we've got something of Jesus' nature, right? And so it continues. We go to the next slide. He goes this, and he says this. "Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep.'" Now for us, 100 sheep doesn't seem like a lot, because in New Zealand, there's a lot of sheep. It's like 2 to 1, 3 to 1, something like that. Might reduce because I like eating a lot of sheep. Lamb, sorry. But 100 sheep back then would have been a lot. It would have made this family and this shepherd, or these shepherds, very wealthy. So for them to lose one, it wasn't really that big of a deal. They still had 99. They were still very, very rich. Very rich. But here Jesus explains that this shepherd, he actually leaves his flock. Now for a flock of that size, they would have had maybe 2, 3 shepherds. So they're not alone. But he leaves this flock and he goes. He goes and he searches for this lost sheep. He takes the time. He travels. In Israel, in Israel, it would have been desert, or it would have been arid land. So it's hot. There's no moisture. It's just dry. There's dust everywhere. Can you imagine him walking, tracking the sheep, trying to look for it? And then when he finds it, he goes, "Hey, that is my sheep." And he goes to it. And the sheep runs to him because he knows him. And he goes, he doesn't drag the sheep. He's not like, "Come with me." He picks up this sheep and he puts it on his shoulders and he walks it home. He travels back home just so that he can bring that sheep back to the flock, back to the family, back to the tribe. And then not only that, he's just like, "Hey, guys, y'all gotta come. You gotta be a part of this. I've actually found my lost sheep. It took ages. Let's celebrate. Let's rejoice, and let's have an amazing time celebrating that I found this." So what does this tell us of Jesus' character and in turn God's character? He's actually concerned for all of his creation. He's actually concerned for all of us. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but I mean, here it is. Because imagine this, all right? Similar story. I'm making this up now. It's not in the Bible. Imagine Jesus is throwing a party. And he's like, "You know what? I want that room. It has 1,000, it can fit 1,000 people in it." Right? And he sends the invites to 1,000 people, and 990 reply saying, yes, I'm coming. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. That 10 people that said, oh, I don't know. I don't really know him, or I kind of was part of that group, and then, I don't know, I don't feel like I can go. Do you know? Those 10 people are actually just 1%. 1% out of 100. So they gather at this party, 990 people, Jesus is chatting to everyone, and then somehow, I don't know, he's Jesus, he does a head count. Maybe he has one of those clickers that flight attendants have, and he just goes click, 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 click. And he realizes, oh, hang on, there's only 990 people. Guys, hang on. Don't start the party yet. I will be right back. And he leaves his own party to go and search and find these 10 people. And what does he do? He goes to these 10 people individually, and he says this, hey, man, you know, I actually have a room full of people. I have 990 people at this party. And I actually sent you an invite. But I never got anything back. Now, I have a room full of people. 990, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. But you see, I actually want you to be there. Because you might not know this, but I know your name. I know you. And without a shadow of a doubt, you matter to me. And I want you there. I want you at this party. And so he brings these 10 people to this party. And as he walks in the doors and these 10 people, he's like, hey, now we can celebrate. Now we can enjoy ourselves. Because these 10 guys have come. And it's going to be awesome. How amazing is that? To think of it that way. That Jesus is willing to leave the party to make sure that everyone knows that they are welcome. So what does this tell us about our character? In this story, we're the sheep. Surprise. And I can imagine that the sheep that got lost, I can imagine the sheep kind of walking with the flock, right? Kind of just enjoying being with this, and then he goes, ooh, there's a tasty patch of grass over there. I'm going to go. Kind of like moves a little. You can see the flock. He's like, no, I see you. I'm there. And he chows down. And then he sees, oh, there's another patch, and he moves, and he moves. And eventually he moves so far away from the flock that he kind of looks up and goes, oh, they're not here. And maybe he goes, oh, I am actually a little bit lost. Or maybe he'll go, that's okay. I'll just keep eating. It's fine. And he continues. And I think that's us sometimes. I think sometimes we move away, right? We move away. And sometimes we'll realize, hey, actually I'm lost. And sometimes we won't. Sometimes lost for us can be, it can be this, right? For us, lost could be the thing that we saw on the internet at one time. And we promised that we would never look at it again because it was bad. But here we are, we're addicted to it. Or maybe lost looks for some of us like this. This is the 4th time that I've said that I am not going to drink. It's not for me. I'm not going to do it. But there is a family member in the hospital because of me. For some of us, loss might be, hey, you know what? I was actually sexually abused as a child, and it was no fault of my own. But because of that, I am now making unhealthy decisions. I'm being in unhealthy relationships, and you know what? I feel lost. I feel lost. In those moments, it feels like there is no hope at all. It feels like hope doesn't win. It doesn't feel like you're going to be okay. But in this parable, we can see that, hey, look, Jesus, he being our shepherd is going to find us. He's going to track us down. He's going to look for us. And he's not going to drag us back. He's going to carry us back to his family, back to the party. And as soon as we come in, he's like, hey, welcome, man. Let's start. Let's do this. And the best part is it goes on to say in the verse, and it says this. In the verse it says, hey, there will actually be more rejoicing in heaven. How cool is that? Jesus doesn't stop there because he goes, you know what? I don't know if these guys understood it fully. So he goes on to say another parable along the same lines because he does this. And this one is called the parable of the lost coin. And it goes like this. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." Now again, for us, it's just a coin. We've got like $2 coins and 50-cent coins. It's nothing. It's not important. But for them, back in the day, that coin would have been part of a headpiece. And this woman would have worked long, hard hours until she was able to collect these 10 coins. So it was part of a set. These 10 coins that would be basically her wedding ring. It was that valuable. It was that valuable, that debt collectors, if that family was in debt collectors could not even consider taking that headpiece away because it was so valuable to the women of that time. And here she loses one of these coins. But what does she do? She goes, you know what? Hang on. I know that I'm supposed to make sure the house is good and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm going to search for this coin. And you need to understand, back in the day, it was mud houses, and they actually had only one hole, right, in the wall as a window that would let in light. And the ground wouldn't be carpet, like we have some in our houses. It would actually be straw. So it would be a mixture of mud and straw and stuff. So searching for a silver coin would have been so difficult. Imagine the sun setting in this circumstance. It's dark, and she lights a lamp. Oil is not cheap back in the day. But here she is, she's using this resource, and she's searching, she's sweeping, she's looking all over for this lost coin, and then she finds it. She goes, yes! And she invites all her friends and goes, hey, we are going to celebrate. I have found my lost coin. I found a lost sheep. We're going to eat it. It's going to be great. I'm kidding. But this is the thing. And in this story, Jesus is the woman searching for the coin, right? Sweeping the house, moving the furniture, looking for this one coin, and he does all this, and eventually he finds it. And what I love about this is that, hey, look, actually, Jesus is willing to put aside all his duties, all his tasks to come and find us. Back in the day, the women had to take care of the house, right? Look after it and make sure that it's all good, and food and water and all that kind of stuff. But she puts aside her duties to search for this coin because she knows that it is so valuable to her that it is worth putting that aside. And this is what Jesus does for us. He values us so much that's what he does. And for us, we are the coin. To him, we are valuable. We are worth a lot. We are precious. But we can be misused, abused, mistreated, and misplaced. And if that coin had thoughts, I can only imagine it thinking this. The longer that it was lost, the longer that it was in the corner of the couch, it thinking this. I am a silver coin. I know my worth. But you know what? I've actually been lost for a really long time. It feels like a long time. So maybe I'm actually not that valuable. Maybe I'm actually not that worthy, that precious. It's been so long. And I think for some of us, we think that way, right? We think that way. We say, you know what? I've been lost for so long. I was used and abused, mistreated, forgotten, pushed to a side. And I feel like I've been lost for such a long time that I am not worthy anymore. But here in this parable, we have Jesus saying, no, hang on. You are so precious to me and so valuable to me, and you are worthy. And once I find you, I'm going to add you to that headpiece because that's where you belong. I'm going to restore you to where you should be. He continues. because he does it in threes. He goes to the next one, and it's probably the most famous stories. I think whether you believe or not, you might have heard this. It's quite exciting, and it's the story of the lost son, or the prodigal son. And so it's quite long, so I've summarized it. All right, and so this is what it says. It says this: Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them." And he goes to the next one. "And then not long after that, the younger son got together all he had and set off for a distant country. And there he squandered his wealth in wild living." It's basically a nice version of saying he partied it up hard. In some translations of the Bible, it actually says this, right? It says this: "He wasted his substance with riotous living." What a great word, riotous. I don't know about you, I've had riotous living moments. A lot. It was fun. It was great. He continues, and he says this: "Eventually he runs out of money and realizes that even his father's servants eat better than how he is eating now." So he's gotten to a point where he's not even eating that well, right? He's not even eating that well. And so he goes this, he thinks of this. He plans to return to the father, but not as his son. He's going, you know what, I've done all this, I've had all this riotous living. I can't return as his son. So I'm going to return as his servant. And so it continues. And so he says this: "So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him." In this story, we are the son. And the son in this story, he chooses to move away from the family. He was part of it. He was amongst it. He was within this tribe, this community, his family, and he said, "I don't want this anymore. I want riotous living." So he goes, "I'm going this way. Party. Riotous living." And then along the way, he realizes, you know what? Hang on. I'm doing this. It feels great. I'm living my best life. But it feels empty. There's something missing. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I feel lost. I feel unfulfilled. I don't know. And I think that's us sometimes. So then the Father, which is Jesus. In this story, Jesus is the Father. And can you imagine him? All right? He gives everything to the Son, everything the Son wants. And he knows what he's doing. He knows this. Through the grapevine, through friends coming from that distant land going, "Hey, I saw your son. He's riotously living." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. So I want you to imagine this. Lovely house, beautiful house, estate. And there is one road that comes to this house. There's only one road. And every morning, the father, with his cup of coffee, is standing on the front porch, and he spends a considerable amount of time just looking down this road, drinking his coffee, waiting to hopefully see his son walk down that road, right? Doesn't come. So he goes about his day, and then during the day, as he's working and doing things, he kind of stands at the porch maybe for 5-10 minutes, hoping that you'll see his son. No, okay, cool. Lunchtime comes. He pulls up a chair, sits down, he's having his lunch, still staring down this road. Dinner time comes, it's the same thing. And on and on and on. It might have been weeks, it might have been months, it might have been years, and the father's routine is the same. Morning, during the day, lunch and dinner, he'd be standing or sitting at the front porch, looking down this road, in the hopes that he'd see the top of his son, his head, coming down that road. And then one day, it's evening time. He's in his night robe. He's got his tea. He's standing on the front porch. And then all of a sudden, he sees this person. He sees the top he only sees his face coming over the hill and walking towards his house. And he knows that is my son. But my son looks like he is broken. He looks like he's lost. He looks destroyed. So what does the father do? He doesn't put his tea down. He drops it. And he bolts. He runs hard. Nightgown flapping in the wind. But he runs and he bolts down this road. Not even, just imagine. And then the son, I can imagine the son walking, right? Head down. And he looks up and he sees his father running to him. And he stops and he goes, oh, hang on. And all he's thinking is, you know what, my father's running to me to tell me to get off this property. I am not wanted here. I'm not loved here. You left, you squandered, you did riotous living. You are not welcome here. Get off my land. You're not welcome home. So he's standing there, closer. You can see the father closer and closer and closer and closer. And then all of a sudden he's thinking, hang on, he's actually not stopping. Why is he not stopping? And then all of a sudden, the father embraces him. He embraces him with a kind of strength and love that says, I have missed you so much. And I love you. Welcome home. Come with me. And then there's celebrating. And there's rejoicing. And there's this massive, massive celebration. I think that's something that we shouldn't forget. There is celebration when that happens. So in these parables, not only do we get to see, the character and the nature and the love of Jesus. Not only do we get to see our nature at times, right? But he challenges us. And I think this is what the challenge is, right? The challenge is, as a tribe, to be the tribe that Jesus intended us to be. Are we going to be the sort of tribe that builds high walls? Is Grace Gate, is this tribe going to be a tribe that builds high walls? Are we going to be the tribe that puts gates at the end of the road? So you need some sort of code or passcode or whatever to get in? Are we going to be the sort of tribe that says, hey, that puts obstacles in front of people? You got to do this and do this, learn the secret knock, understand all the secret codes, and then you are good to go. Welcome. Or are we going to be the sort of tribe that Jesus intended us to be? The Jesus version of welcome that says, hey, we are going to roll out the red carpet. We're going to put that big welcome mat home. We're going to open that door wide open, that front door wide open, and say, hey, welcome home. Come on in. Join the party. We're glad you're here. What are we going to be? Are we going to be the sort of tribe that rejoices and celebrates when the shepherd finds his lost sheep? Are we going to be the sort of tribe that celebrates and rejoices when the woman finds her lost coin? Are we going to be the sort of tribe that celebrates when the father is walking with his son back to the house saying, hey, let's celebrate. Let's rejoice. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's welcome this person back. Or are we going to be the sort of tribe that is like the older brother that says, I don't want to be a part of this party. I don't want to be here, and I don't want you here. I think Grace Gate and this tribe is called to be the former. We're called to be the tribe that accepts everyone, that loves people and all people, and welcomes them home. I get that church is scary. Genuinely I do. And that being part of this tribe or a tribe like this can be scary because of past hurts or situations that might have come up or whatever it may be, right? But I want to challenge us all. Get connected. Get connected in this tribe. Get connected. Because this tribe, we're not perfect. My goodness, we are not perfect. We did a whole series on it, actually. We are not perfect. But what we can say is this. We're going to be a tribe that is going to fight for you. We're going to be that tribe. We're going to be that tribe that crawls or walks or runs alongside you. We might not be able to stop the bullying that happens, right, in your lives. But we will be a tribe that will not abandon you. We might not be able to take away the past hurts of sexual abuse, but we will accept and we will love you. We will be that tribe. We might not be able to take off the labels that people or yourself have put on you, right? But we will be a tribe that no matter what, we will accept and we will love you and we will open that door and we will say, welcome home. Because this is the tribe that Jesus has intended us to be. This is the tribe that he has called us to be. More importantly, it's this. He's called us to be this tribe, and he's modeled this for us. And it's all in the hope, right? It's all in the hope that you would be able to see and experience, that we be able to see and experience this overwhelming and this never-ending and this reckless love of our Creator, of God. Because a healthy community is going to love you no matter what, right? It's going to show you what God's love truly is. It's going to challenge you in a healthy way. And this community, this tribe, this family can be that for you. It can. We will try our utmost. Because life isn't always rainbows and unicorns. It isn't. But when we are surrounded and when we are supported by our tribe, we are able to actually get through the things that would have been impossible to do alone. Because God, we believe God created us, well, he never created us to be alone. He never created us to actually do life alone. The way that he created and designed us is to actually do life with other people, to do life together, because life is better together. And he certainly didn't create us to shut the front door on people. He created us to welcome people home, to invite them, to be together with them, and to do life together with them. Gracegate is your tribe. It's your tribe. It's your family. A tribe that is going to walk alongside you, that is going to fight for you, that is going to love you, that will accept you, and one that wants to do life with you. And this is the tribe that Jesus is calling us to be. This is what he's set up and he's challenging us to be this tribe. Let me pray. Dear God, thank you that we can come to a place like this. You know, I know that it's scary. I know that some people have so many struggles, so many realizations that life isn't always rainbows and unicorns. And God, first off, I'm so grateful that we can actually do a series like this, where we can explore these hurts in our world today. That we can talk about it as a community, and we can encourage each other, and we can support each other, and we can do life together. God, as we end this series and as we leave Gracegate today, I just pray that we leave with an understanding that, hey, you've actually designed us to be in community with each other, to be a tribe. That Jesus intended us to be a tribe that loves people, that loves all people, that leaves that front door open. And whenever someone walks in saying, hey, welcome, We love having you here. Welcome home. God, I just pray that as we leave here today, as we think about this, as we contemplate this, as we contemplate even joining this tribe or being a part of this tribe, that you'd stir something up in us. And for us that are part of this tribe already, God, I just pray that you instill in us this passion to create this tribe the way that you intended it to be. That together as a community, we welcome people, that we love people. And through that they'll be able to see you and realize that there is hope. That hope wins in the end. Hope is always there. And that together we are stronger. And with you leading us, that we are strong. Thank you, God, for loving us and always being there for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I know it's all you've got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to keep it together. I know you think that you are too far gone, but hope is never lost. Hope is never lost. Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just stay one step closer, one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness. You're gonna be okay. I know your heart is heavy from those nights. Just remember that you are a fighter, a fighter. You never know just what tomorrow holds. And you're stronger than you know. You're stronger than you know. Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just take one step closer, one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness. One step closer, one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness. You're gonna be okay. When the night is
Can we all stand and just give these guys a hand? For some of us, it might just look like a cardboard and a few words, but that's their story. And that's their story in this space, in this tribe, to the God that we worship here every Saturday. And most of us, I'm sure, can hold up a cardboard like that and say, wow, we're so blessed to be in this space. We're so blessed to have a family, to have a tribe, to have a God who cares for us here, who won't abandon us, that there is always hope. And yeah, I just thank you guys for sharing your story. And just, yeah, being that tribe, being this community. Thanks, Jordan, for sharing what we're about, who our God is, and how he cares for us. And the one thing I want to share, though, is that I know that if you're in this space, you see the value of being around people, that we are truly stronger together when we're cheering one another on. But the reality is, outside of these walls, there's still a huge community who doesn't have that hope, who's struggling alone. And for us, it is our challenge, and it is actually our calling that we will be a community who actually moves across the room, who moves outside of these doors, and actually does something about it. And we're starting a brand new series next week, and I'm going to ask guys just to hand these out. It's called Everybody Always, all right? And it's a book-based. Bob Goth has written it, and it's all about what faith is, what our community is about. And I want you to take this card, and this week I want to challenge you that you pray about it, but you actually move across the room to someone you know, someone in your community, someone in your sphere, and actually invite them and say, hey, I'd love to see you actually come with me to Gracegate next week. We're a tribe and we're a community who wants to do life with you. And I want you to actually, there's an address and stuff on here that you can actually post it to them, but I actually want you to actually give it to them and invite them personally. If we can invite just one person and we can just say, hey, come with me next week, come with me. It's going to be a series that is action-packed. I think it's the best series that Gracegate has ever had. And I know God's going to do something special. So can we do that? Can we do that? At least one person